Hey, it's your narrator here. Thank you so much for listening to our tale. Special thanks to our subscribers on Ko-Fi, Scav, Xbox Unofficial, Kane, Sky, Maelstrom Star, Flowerfield, and David Draws. Your support means more you can know. Our background music is by Marika Shans, with a closing by Cody, and an opening by Ben McElroy. Our art is by our very own Corey, voice of Virgil. Now why don't you sit with me and look up at the sky? You see the stars? They're telling us a story, if we want to listen. The flood occurred at night, both the oceans and waters alike. A bit odd in the desert, but things have been a bit odd nowadays, haven't they? The caves are half filled, but if some fool was determined enough, they could find their way through there. Something tells me some fool did. What have you done? What are you finding down below? Why should I know? What did you find?
It's so scary every time you do this.
Last session. What did you find?
You found some coins?
We found a mirror of another place.
Many mirrors, actually.
A vision of a darker time.
Some mushrooms of questionable edibility.
Is that all?
Some funky machines.
And blood.
Thank you. You open the door and you found yourself faced with an aisle of some sort of strange machine, as you said. The room weeps, there's remnants of a flood dropping like rain from above, broken glass around you, shimmering faintly in the light of the machines. And on either side of you there are numbers. To the left, 3450229366823777749993. The other side, 013871137711077702112, all the way down to the end.
0, 1, 2, 3? No, I missed some. 0, 1, 1, 2.
Keen's pin number is 1, 2, 3.
You can see them.
What if I'm trying to...
Do you ever feel like you've taken your SATs and you step out of the room and you're like, I fucked that up?
You guys, I think we're making this a lot harder than it needs to be. Can you send those numbers in our chat?
The room is quiet aside from the echoing drip. A few of the tank-like structures have been broken, shattered either by the flooding or by some event long in the past. Some of them are still whole, water still inside. Besides that, the room appears to be empty. Of course, aside from you all.
So does each machine only have one number? Is there that many machines?
Each one has 3 numbers.
3, okay. The 3 sevens in a row, is that one machine?
Yes.
So the machines with matching numbers, is anything happening with them? I look closer.
You enter the room properly, step down the aisle. Some of the numbers are flickering, some of them are blank. I should say there are spaces for 3 numbers on each one. But the 3 sevens next to each other, they are on the same machine, and they are all glowing. The difference between these tanks and the rest that you can detect is that they don't have a top, a lid.
What do you think these are for?
I don't know. I can try to discern if you give me some time. If I go and investigate a little bit closer, are the tanks, like, connected at all to the machines?
Yes.
So the 2 that are open are connected to the 3-7 machines?
Yes. And you know
not
what slot
broken.
machines are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like slot machines.
Yeah.
Except for the tank behind them.
There are 2 machines that have the 3 sevens, yes? Are they parallel to each other?
Yes.
Like, not offset at all, just directly?
Yeah, across from each other.
Odd.
Kian has a collection of coins from the tunnel, I think. They walk up to one of the other machines that doesn't match and see if they can insert one of the coins.
The coin slides easily into the slot, and the glowing brightens slightly, and you hear a faint, warped, distorted sound start to rise from the machine, like some kind of mimicry of music.
Is there a lever to pull?
There's a lever, yes.
They look for a second back to the rest of the boys, and without waiting for confirmation, just pull the lever.
The lever stops halfway. It jams. And, well, roll investigation.
13.
There is another a square hole next to the coin slot. And when you try to yank on the lever, you notice it glow faintly. Again, with that same sort of flickering light.
I think it needs something else to power it. It's like a cube? Or something?
It's a rectangle, but I don't know if Kim knows the difference.
They're the same thing.
No. Okay, can I look around the room at all of the other machines and see if there's maybe one that still has this item?
Have you also roll investigation?
Okay.
I'm not investigating the machines, but I'm curious if there's anything left in any of the containers.
11.
They all appear to be empty. It doesn't look like a piece is missing from them. It looks like you're supposed to put something else in. On the inside, if you inspect them, you can see a few lines of metallic rusted teeth, essentially jagged metal.
Dirty 20. And while investigating these, I'd also like to see if there's like the remnants of something other than just like water that had permeated them, with an especial attention to ones that have not been broken.
Some of them you find have bones in them, various sizes. You see a few of them scattered around the room as well. The ones that are whole are fully filled with water. The ones with the lids off of them, the 777s, it looks like either they've been partially emptied or the flood refilled them. The water only goes up part way. You don't notice anything particularly strange, at least to the naked eye, about the water itself. It's dark in here, makes the water look dark as well, a bit murky.
I'm assuming these are bipedal skeletons?
There aren't full skeletons, but you do find bones, and they do look like they are humanoid.
Like small?
Various sizes.
Like in the tanks?
In and around.
Normal.
Not a lot of them, but you do see a few here and there.
I mean, any amount of assorted humanoid bones is concerning, so...
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We could just leave. This is some, like, white people shit. Let's just go home.
Can I try? Keen's looking around just to find something that is maybe not correct,
A
but
square?
would maybe go in there.
How big is it? Is it, like, small?
It's like a hand's width wide.
I was gonna
Ask. No!
Does it look like it is meant to take something pretty flat? Or more...
What happens if you put your hand in?
No! There's teeth in there!
Can you put your hand in, and it's like you've put your hand in, like, an animal's mouth. Like a Delilah has chomped you.
Shit. Oof,
And you hear a whirring sound from the machine.
What did you do?
so it wants our blood.
Will you roll a d20? While this is happening, Henry, You notice a door in the back of the room.
Oh no.
Just a straight d20?
Yeah.
I keep rolling 13.
Stop! I need you to stop!
You pull the lever, the machine lights up, and the numbers start to change. At first, slowly, like 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, and then picking up speed until you can't quite see what the numbers say, and it's just a blur. In the display above the numbers, where before you just saw a black pane of glass, you see the coin rise up on a small platform, clasped by a metallic claw, and it turns and starts to glow. It turns faster along with the numbers, and the glow is brighter. Roll one more time for me, please.
18. 18.
You're smiling!
Yeah.
The numbers stop at 777, and the coin continues to glow, and it pauses, the Ouroboros snake facing you. And the music picks up speed. You hear a cranking, jangling of bells. The tank lights up, and then the machine starts to shudder. The water inside glows. The shuddering increases.
Kian, can you move away?
Sure.
It starts to die down quickly. As the machinery shuts off, the coin falls out from the slot and lands on the ground with a plink.
They go to pick it up.
It's still glowing rather brightly in your hand.
Cast detect magic on this whole room, actually. Yeah. Just look around. But look at the coin first.
It has the same kind of magic to it as Henry's coin.
They kind of hold it up between their fingers. It looks like it has some fey magic. Kind of like your coin or Carrot's tears. Fuck.
And your coin, Henry, from the Fae you encountered, it affected your appearance. Does it do anything else? Was that the one that sort of tricked your curse into thinking you were celestial?
No. I don't think so. I mean, the primary function is for the appearance change thing, but it's also sort of a little bit of an IOU on my end. In theory, if there was a favor that they needed done, that could be asked, but
At any time?
I guess at any time.
Is it just me, or is this the first we're hearing of that?
Yeah, you didn't mention anything about a favor before.
I guess it just never came up in conversation.
Okay, so what does that mean for you, Kian?
But I didn't get anything. I just gave blood.
Well, maybe the tank is opened, or maybe that coin does something.
I was gonna look at the tank. Did it open up?
No.
Maybe it works in reverse. Like the machine owes you something? Because, well, there's no polite way to put it, but I think there used to be people as prizes. There are the remnants in some of the other tanks.
Or maybe the tanks hold what you put in as payment.
They look to the liquid inside the tank. Does it seem like it has got some blood in there now? Detect magic is on. They're looking, now that they've done their shit, inspecting like the magic, if any, behind all of these machines.
You see it fading from the machine that you activated pretty quickly. Like once it started to kind of wind down, the magic also started to fade.
Okay, and you got a favorable result. At least that is usually the conclusion of 3 sevens. We don't know what it would have done to you if you hadn't gotten that. Kian just nods.
Do you think do we need to activate more of them?
I don't know that we should just yet. Do you want me to take a look at that?
They nod and kind of delicately hand the coin over.
He will take it, and I will ritually cast Identify on this coin.
So you detect celestial magic. You also detect the same sort of magic as the mushrooms that you've been finding in various strange places. Identify tells you what something does.
You learn its properties and how to use them.
It is a magic item, and it was not before Keen put it in the slot. It feels like it is intended to...
What?
power something in a way that does not feel mechanical.
Okay.
Okay, what?
It just feels as if this is meant to be a power source for something. I don't know if that is you or something else.
Can we leave this room? Go further in? Maybe there's something.
I did see another door over in the back corner over there, if we want to try that.
Maybe we come back here. Maybe there's answers. Before anyone else.
Before we go, can I just investigate one of the, like, maybe the tank that Kian, of the machine that Kian used? What is the structure of this thing?
You'd have to get up there.
Well, shit. Guess we have to go.
Too small.
It probably needs like a ladder. It's about...
Oh, it's tall. It's a big boy.
Yeah, it's about 10 feet up.
Can I attempt to use shape water to use the water to lift the top off?
Yeah.
Virgil will reach up and direct the water inside of the tube to push the top off. And I would love to gather some of that water in a vial. I'll be looking at that later.
But the water doesn't look magical at all.
Not that you can
Not that I can tell.
tell, no.
Ox, did Scarlet ever tell you what the coin did? The one she had?
No, it wasn't hers to begin with. It was Anne's. He always had it on him. We didn't, at least I didn't know it did anything. I don't think he did either.
I wonder if he knew where it came from.
I feel like he would have told me if he knew. We didn't keep a lot of secrets from each other.
Maybe it wasn't charged like this one is then. Or maybe it was and he found it that way?
Yeah, did it ever glow like this one?
Not that I ever saw, no.
Is it still glowing?
Keens?
Yeah.
It is, but it's a little more faint than it was before.
I want to see what's on the other side of this door.
I'll come with you.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta try to open it.
Is it a push or a pull?
Yeah.
You turn the knob and it stops as you try to push it, and it stops as you try to pull it, and it stops as you kind of go like, and try to force it open. Appears to be locked.
Okay, I'm gonna... can I get my lockpicks out and attempt to lockpick this? Fucking fuck!
Right now!
Can I assist?
That's...
Yeah, you can.
Ox is like,
does that give me advantage?
Ox takes Kian's hands and is like, no,
Well,
like this.
he's listening with his elf ears.
Yeah.
So do I have
The little
advantage then?
clicks.
Yes.
11. Oh, more than that, because it is dexterity. 12. It's just I'm really good at lockpicking, but I rolled so bad.
It
Fair
takes
enough.
a moment, Ox. You do have to help with some adjustments, but eventually you hear the mechanism click into place, and the door unlocks.
Was the DC 12?
It was 10.
11.
You did it.
Thank you for helping. Okay, let's open this up then. They're gonna try to quietly push it open.
Something is happening.
Yeah.
The vampire comes out.
Beholder!
She bites you.
A vampire already came out.
Yeah.
This session?
Not this session.
Yeah.
Like, you can all... I mean, coming out requires
It's a journey.
Conversations throughout one's life. But, sorry.
Henry, a few years ago, you got an unexpected visitor at your shop. It was a normal day in somewhere. It was just before the true heat of summer hits. When the light is at its brightest, it can be a bit overwhelming. People tend to retreat to the more shaded areas, the covered, richer center of somewhere. So it's a slower afternoon for you. When, from out your window, you see a dark parasol and a well-dressed figure beneath it. The parasol closes, and your patron, not in a warlock way, steps inside. What did the devil look like?
There's a lot of pressure I didn't prepare for.
Design a character right now.
The devil should definitely get like a black lace-trimmed Victorian era dress with not like a wide, I believe it's not bodice, but it's the piece that keeps the skirt like flared, but no, it's like a more simplistic silhouette that gets paired with a very ambiguous half-length petticoat over the top. Also goes all the way, not all the way to the wrist, but like 3/4 length down so that you can see that they're wearing long black velvet gloves. Oh, that needs an accent of some kind. Perhaps for the jacket, it could be done in red, specifically the shade that people like to put those 777s in. That shows you've done a great job with the slot machine.
What about their face?
Well, the handsome descriptor was a good one, but as far as specific details go, it's mentioned. It's hard to pick them out in a crowd. Just everyone agrees that they're handsome, but since when has anyone ever had a collective, subjective opinion? It really doesn't happen. So arguably, one would say that the devil must therefore have several faces, or that perhaps the face of the devil appears differently to different people depending on what they consider sinful. That being said, the eyes are always recognizable, regardless of the color. There is always that glitter on the inside, a little gold, that you would recognize that's the devil right there. The core, that greed that underlines the entirety of somewhere. The paradise that it encapsulates. To match with this getup, they have their hair, long, dark hair, streaked through with white that is wrapped up around their shoulder.
You open the door. You are faced with what looks like a slightly wrecked office. And on the far end, you see a handsome face that, though attractive, is difficult to describe. Not a single one of the features stands out to you, and yet there's something appealing about it. There's a high lacy collar, long hair, style draped around their shoulder, in an ornate frame. Henry, you recognize that face immediately.
Oh!
So just to be clear, it's the painting.
Yes, same.
Yes.
To be super clear.
Yes.
Okay.
It lacks the gold glimmer in the eye, but you recognize the face.
Orcs. Could I just... I don't know if you're particularly familiar with, the particular patron of somewhere, but does that not look exactly like them?
I don't think I've ever seen them, but everything I've ever heard, that's what they look like.
Do you mean the devil?
Yes. And I'm assuming that if they have their portrait posted up there, that this vicinity belongs to them. I guess it does fit. Who else would dramatically put slot machines before...
Were they trying to make guardians? Do you think, from the picture, does it look like a normal person?
You
step up to the portrait. It is a bit faded, a bit damaged with time. It is a painting, so, if someone is, say, an archfey, you can usually tell from this otherworldly aura around them. It's not portrayed in any way in this picture. At the bottom is a small plaque that reads Daniel S. Dickens.
Daniel Dickens.
D. Dickens.
Dick Dickens.
The devil's gonna smite us.
Danny
Good.
Dix.
No.
Do you think... I don't... It seems like,
Like they were in charge of this project?
like they were just immortal here.
That would make them ancient, then. If we have determined that this was pre-downfall, that means the devil has been around since the beginning.
I thought,
Since before the beginning.
but haven't the Guardians been around for that long? Maybe not
No,
as Guardians, but they...
I suppose we don't know. The earliest records show that they started to appear after, sparing small parts of the world.
For Henry, did the devil, when shopping, perusing, entering, ever use any variation of Daniel, Danielle, Danny, Dick, Richard?
No name was given.
Or, alternatively, and this is entirely a wild, somewhat baseless theory, this is the person on whom the devil is based? I mean, if they're trying to create celestials, and perhaps if they succeeded, maybe the devil came from here?
Are there any books or anything?
Yeah, I was gonna start rummaging around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is very clearly an office. There's a desk, a large chair with fabric back and fabric arms, a bit moldy at this point. A few shelves on the walls, and yes, there are some books. Do you want to roll investigation? If anyone is looking around, you can join in.
Yes.
I would love to rummage through the desk, and if one of y'all doesn't check behind that painting, I'm going to.
Well, we can split up and search for clues, and I can...
A clue.
Or not.
12. Investigation.
8.
10.
12.
18.
As Virgil starts to look around the office, he will reach for his sketchbook in his bag blindly and just touch the cover. And think of Hoku and how sharp their eyes were. And I will cast Borrowed Knowledge to get proficiency in investigation. So that's an 11. But it lasts an hour.
Well, you certainly see more than you would have before.
I do.
Can you tell me a little bit more specifically where you're investigating, or like what for?
Kian's looking mostly at the desk. But if there's nothing on the desk, they'll move on to the bookshelves. They're expecting to find like a written ledger or something that says what this place was attempting to do.
I also said I was investigating the desk. I'm looking for like false, like bottoms to drawers.
Kirit's looking for books, writing, anything like that, and if there's stuff that's not in common, he will cast Comprehend Languages.
I'll have Henry take a look at, I think the portrait was a good idea, the placard on it, how it's still in seemingly relatively good condition despite the general water damage. Anything behind it?
Ox also investigates the books with Kirit.
Kirit and Ox, you start to rummage around these bookshelves. Of course, some of the books have been too damaged for you to really glean anything from, but you are able to find that a lot of them have detailed sketches in them, and those are easier to read, in a sense. There are blueprints, much like Ox, much like the blueprint you use with Georgette, drawn in a similar hand. You find sketches of machines that are very clearly based off of the carapaces up above. or perhaps the beginning of the carapaces up above. You find some sketches that appear to be very early guns, far less advanced than your own. And you also find some of the plans for those slot machines outside. The book that catches your interest, Curate, in it you find sketches of what look like eggs.
No.
2 of them have a very young child or a baby sketched beside them. One is an elfin child, one is a tiefling, one is a firbolg.
Was that what I saw in my vision? Those
Yes.
specific?
What?
You find a variety of different designs for coins. Some of them have a desert horizon on them. Some of them have different variations of the snake. One of them has the snake like winding up like it's about to eat a sun. Some of them have the Ouroboros circular motion just in a slightly different, basically in a slightly different font, drawn slightly differently. Some of them have the mushrooms. It looks like a bunch of different plans, essentially. The one that you've seen the most scattered around these rooms is the most finalized.
What the fuck do we make of that? My guy over there avoiding eye contact.
Thinking about eggs.
Beyond eggs on the blackout.
You find readable notes. The shell began to develop after 7 days. You see the lion's mane and the morel appear to be the most effective. The morel child took on a yellowish hue, and then the shell began to develop.
I mean... Sorry.
You find something that appears to be more like a journal than these more developed, very neatly written texts. You know, the handwriting is like a little bit messier. Paradise should not be a distant place, no matter where a person finds themselves. Why cage it to tropical shores and rich wooded mountainsides? The desert is vast and empty, the territory of sand and sky, a distant somewhere that exists only in the minds of carrion eaters. Who's to say it should not be for the people as well? It is a wasteland, a waste, and we do not dare waste and want. With this, we will create our paradise, and dare I say, stars be damned. Henry, you're investigating the frame. When you move it out of the way, there is a definite imprint on the wall, essentially, of where the portrait was. It seems like it is hung here for a long time. You just see the stone behind it. There's no sign that you can find of a secret passageway or door or anything like that. The portrait is damaged. It is stained. The colors are faded. I don't know if you can tell why it isn't worse off. It is protected from light damage, and a lot of the water damage appears to be quite recent. Like maybe within the past day or so.
Makes sense.
The desk kids.
You got an 11 and a 12?
Yeah.
We don't find shit.
Virgil, you don't find anything. There is a locked drawer. The lock doesn't appear to be arcane. Just a lock, like you would find on many desks. There are a few sketches of the 3 types of mushrooms that you can find key in. You also find a portrait of a figure that appears to be quite beautiful and statuesque, with wings rising behind.
They'll nudge Virgil. Is that who you saw in your vision?
Yeah, it looks like her. Kian, do you think you could get in this drawer?
Yeah, 15 actually.
Yeah, you are able fairly easily to clink around in there, and it opens. You find a list of names. Beside them is species. Beside that is age. And beside that is type of mushroom.
Do any names stand out?
There are 3 that don't have names. An elf, a tiefling, and a firbolg.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the youngest. 6 months.
And what mushrooms are associated with the 3?
The tiefling is connected to the lion's mane, the firbolg to the truffle, and the elf to the morel.
Yeah. Never would have guessed that.
Because
What are you? Sorry. There wasn't a, like, secret fourth member of your party that was a convenient Firbolg, right?
Well, Wiley, but I'm just wondering.
Oh, wait, I thought Wiley was a...
Like,
is he a Firbolg?
He's technically a Fearbolt, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
He just has cow flavor.
I was just so convinced that he was a Minotaur.
Like, have
Yeah, me too.
have you discussed where you met Wiley ever? I don't think so.
Wiley was in
I mean,
Paradise when
in
Ox
Paradise, yeah.
Yeah.
arrived there.
Ox, may I take a look at your neck?
I mean, yeah, but why?
Kirit will step closer, and he's looking at your tattoo. Who gave you this tattoo? With the snake and the sun?
You see his expression tighten a little bit. Someone I knew in Paradise.
Wiley?
Yeah, it was Wiley.
It's not one of the charmed ones, is it?
Yeah, Wiley did the snake for me while I was in Paradise, and did the sun when we were kids.
And who came up with the design?
Why?
What do you mean? I mean,
Kirit will open to the page that has the coin design with the snake eating the sun.
I think Ox takes the book from your hands, and he'll flip through the pages to look at the other designs.
There's more. There's mention of a child that took on a yellow hue, they said? An elf child? A Morel child?
There's also some here. And you said you saw in your vision.
Yeah, you can tell by the way that he flips back and forth between the sketches and the way that his brows are furrowed that this looks very new. This is not familiar.
I'm starting to think that we're all a bit more connected in this whole big world thing than we originally thought.
Yeah, there's stuff about growing children in eggs in here too.
Oh.
But that's just how children grow.
Oh, we've been over this.
Yeah, and we need to go back over live, but
Keen's like, that's horrifying! I don't want to alarm you, Ox, but there is a lot of mention of an alpha tiefling and a Firbolg here in these notes.
Did Wiley ever say where he came from?
Oh my gosh, why in here? I mean, he said he was from somewhere. He really didn't give me a lot of details about his personal life.
And you didn't happen to just, like, appear out of nowhere one day, did you?
Not as far as I can tell, no. I was born to 2 elves in Slate's Edge. My mother died when I was around 10.
So you have memories of your childhood?
Yeah, I do.
Were they also young?
Yeah, they were pretty young.
these might sound like a strange and invasive question, and I know you're only 10 when she passed, so maybe not, but did your mother ever, or whoever was the one that birthed you, ever discuss the pregnancy issues? I know that was something that... It's a topic of conversation between people who, you know, carry children sometimes.
No, not really. I don't think I ever heard her talk about it.
Did she avoid talking about it?
I just don't think it really came up in conversation much.
That's fair.
The train of thought that led me there was if the winners of the slot machines in the other room would take something home that was a child, then there wouldn't be a pregnancy associated with it.
That's...
as plausible as anything right now.
Do you think there's a sort of library or something like the other place? Was there another door in there that went further? They peer out into the slot machine room and see if there's any other connection to another room.
It's the same layout as...
Because last time... I want to draw this out. Last time we entered Beholder Room, and then we got to Pool Room, and then it went Greenhouse, and then Celestial Room.
Yeah.
And so I thought...
There's a hallway.
There is a hallway.
Yes.
Okay, that's
You
what
just
I'm
see a
asking.
hallway.
And
Sorry,
it's a
I was
hallway we
confused the
haven't
word.
come from.
Yes, you can assume, Kian, that down the hallway is a room at least similar in architecture to the Beholder Room / library.
I know we're moving through this all rather quickly, but I kind of just want to look and see.
Yeah, we can always come back here, properly clear it out.
I feel like we're so close to figuring something out.
This is certainly interesting information. Kirit will take the book with the images and pack it.
Yeah, I mean, Keen puts the list of names in their bag of holding as well.
Yeah, Ox will also take the sketches that he found.
I think Keen is gonna peer from the doorway into the slot machine room and down that hallway that goes further in, and look back to the group. I think I want to go check that out. And they're gonna turn into a little bat and fly.
We could
have gone together. Okay, Virgil will follow. Run
Me
after the
too.
little bat.
You flutter down the hallway. The rest of you follow behind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the water is still dripping from above,
Ugh.
almost like a little rainstorm.
No.
Yes. I'm so sorry. And you find yourself in a room, again, similarly built to the library that you found up in Freya. This room looks rather similarly built as far as function as well. Plenty of bookshelves along the walls, most of them at this point waterlogged. In this room, much like earlier on in your adventures here, there are still some like random sort of pieces of other locations floating or sitting around, like the coins here and there, like the mushrooms, and plenty of books.
No beholder.
Was the door closed?
Roll perception.
Guys, I don't think there's any. 19. 18.
Can I also perceive?
Yeah.
Can you behold?
Can you be held?
13.
Neither of you see any signs of beholders.
Okay. Keen looks around, notices that, and attempts to turn into a person again. 17?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any beholders in here, which is great.
Even if there were, would probably be a little bit late at the point we're at.
Well, that's why I was trying to go first as Bat, but maybe I should have said that out loud.
Sorry.
Should we perhaps see if there's anything that isn't damaged beyond legibility?
Maybe with a little prestidigitation?
Did
and
it
some luck?
seem like the water fully filled this hole to the ceiling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oof. I'll join Kirit in looking for books that can be salvaged.
Keen will start climbing the walls and look at the ones up on the top, you know?
Roll your little dice.
I should have asked in the slot machine room too. How's the ceiling situation? Is there anything interesting on the ceiling, or is it just kind of like a plain, boring office room?
There is a star chart on the ceiling.
Huh. Okay.
A classic star chart. Unlabeled. It looks like it's inlaid with gold or some sort of false gold. It's not doing anything. You haven't noticed any movement or strange glowing or anything like that.
Do any of the major, stars or constellations look to be missing?
Good question.
The two of you can say with confidence that no, it seems to be quite accurate.
Got an 18 investigation for these books.
Got a 24 investigation for these books.
Oh.
We're at 13. Investigation for these books.
I'm still on the star chart ceiling. Because you
On it!
No, that's Kian.
Keen's just scrambling up there.
Little freak.
Because the star chart seems to be accurate to like a modern chart.
In this world.
Yeah, in this world.
With the current missing stars?
No, there are no missing stars.
Do we still have the book that has the Falcons constellation? It's in a bag of holding, isn't it? Where
it's
it's
in
like
Keen's
highlighted
bag of
from the
holding.
last one.
It's in Kian's bag of holding.
There,
Kian?
yeah, because it's on their person and they're up higher.
There's no monsters or anything. I think we can do this
Okay.
one by one.
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as we know.
There's an invisible beholder.
I hope.
Kian, you're just flipping through the books, basically.
Throwing waterlogged books down.
Can't, no, Virgil's catching him.
This one's for wind. This one's for...
Stop.
So, Virgil, you're catching these books, trying to keep Kian from tossing them, but honestly, they kind of have a point. A lot of them are just, paper pulp, essentially, at this point. You can tell that they were dense. The ink has saturated the pages, but they're pretty much unreadable most of the time. But some of them, by chance or by fate or by excellent bookbinding, are in slightly more legible condition. Much like before, you find star charts, well labeled, at least in the patches that you can find, the fragments of legible map. There are mycology books. There are some fairy tale snippets that you can find. One snippet, something about a sparrow and a songbird, reminds you of a story Lachlan once told you. One is a story that mentions Elysium that you've heard time and time again growing up. Those are the only two you can recognize, so the others still have that sort of whimsical language to their sentence, not so academic. You got 24.
It's a 19 on the dice. Pretty good. Almost a 20. Kian will, as they find the star chart one. I found another star chart one. This one looks a little bit legible. If anyone wants to look at that, I'll start trying to see if I can find anything more.
Sure, I'll take a look at it.
Don't throw it.
I'm not. They skitter down and then hand it to Henry and go back up. I think they do the same with the mycology book. I'm assuming Kirit might be interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't even ask this time. They'll just hand the mycology book to Kirit, and when they find the fairy tale one, they probably sit with that at one of the top of the bookshelves for a while and just read.
You can't really just read it. This is in even more poor shape than Sappho's poems. They're barely fragments. It's only that you can recognize a couple of them that lets you know for sure, oh, these are folk tales.
They hold it kind of reverently and try to prestidigitate water away, if possible. That works that way? I mean...
It would dry them, it wouldn't fix.
They're trying to make sure it doesn't get worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do that.
Can Ox use mending?
It would help with Kian's attempts at preserving, but it would not rewind the inks spreading. I think the best way to do this with a 24 investigation, you notice some words like subjects that appear to be repeated often. Of course, you find these studies of stars, studies of mushrooms. You find the celestial plane and material plane referenced often, as well as fungus. You see the word ley lines a few times. You find a few references to something higher, those above, and many of the books seem to tackle the subject of fate.
Do you think they were trying... Do you think the celestial plane was connected differently before the downfall?
Is that something I could perhaps roll Arcana about?
Yeah.
Because I have thoughts, but I'm not sure. 16.
That is a theory that people have about the cause of the downfall. Maybe people were, metaphorically usually, reaching for the stars a little too brazenly and caused almost an implosion, in a sense, of the planes, which is why now there's not so much of a difference between the Feywilds and the material plane oceans. So it is a theory.
I've heard it theorized before that perhaps the downfall was a reaction to people of our plane reaching, metaphorically, to the stars. No one's quite sure, of course.
It just seems like there's an awful lot of... I don't know.
And the way the ley lines mirror the stars.
Do you think, I can't say it's entirely just my theory, but that perhaps the folks responsible for all of this ended up literally bringing part of the celestial plane to us? Material plane?
Does Warkian talk to Aelin in their dreams? Is that a celestial plane, or is it...
Yes, essentially. It's indistinct enough for Iliakos to be a guardian. Like, there are celestial guardians.
Yeah.
So they are certainly well connected in some places.
But it's still a distinct plane?
A little more distant from the Feywilds.
Okay.
It's like there are places where it bleeds in. And that's where islands have formed.
A lot of them are mentioning... Well, it's hard to read, but fate and, changing things and... I don't know, it doesn't really say that anywhere, but I just sort of get that feeling from... maybe that's what they were trying to do.
Well, the books mention ley lines. Did they say anything about them at all?
I can't read them, right?
Not incredibly well. Well, you have a book, Kirit.
The mycology one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find the word ley lines mentioned in this book. It mostly appears to be a instructive text. You find a few pages that look like it was step-by-step instructions, so the numbers are bleeding and faded. You can find lines that say, use soil tilled until trails off. You can find the author name embossed on the front, Silofir, P-S-Y-L-O-F-I-R. That's sort of the gist of it that you can read.
This book also mentions ley lines, so it's hard to piece much together. You remember Lo with the mushrooms atop the caravan?
Yeah.
Perhaps they were trying to make ley lines, or...
But they didn't need to make ley lines before, did they?
If these books mention ley lines and this was pre-downfall, that means they existed before. And I don't know if I'm grasping at wind here, but it seems as if we're talking an awful lot about stars falling, perhaps in the vicinity of islands that exist today, and I don't know, if you look at the map and you look at the ley lines between islands, it looks an awful lot like a constellation.
I mean, it is, at least the theory that the constellations are reflected in ley lines.
Can I see those star charts? All of the ones we have, can I see them?
Oh, Henry has one, but here's, they'll dig through their bag of holding and descend from their bookshelf. They're still, standing water, right?
Yes. It's low, but...
Is there a desk or something?
Turned on its side, but there is a desk.
They'll attempt to, lift up the desk so they can put books on something.
I'll allow you that.
Okay. It takes 5 minutes, but they get it.
Let her cook.
all set up and prestidigitate water away, and we'll lay one of the star charts down.
Virgil will just spread them all out on the desk and look at a modern map and try to find any sort of connections between stars that were on older maps are missing now, where locations of islands are. It's just trying to see if anything correlates. For example, if there are 2 stars in a star chart that were there on these older charts, are no longer there in modern day, if the locations of where they were in the sky potentially match where 2 islands now exist.
Just seeing similar patterns of islands and...
Yeah, if fallen stars now could sit where islands sit.
I think as you're starting to do this, Keen's just gonna take a regular map and, without drawing the outline of the, physical parts of the map, just start trying to like trace, here's a city, here's a city, here's a city, or here's an island, here's an island, here's an island, until there's just dots and ley lines.
I don't know if I'm onto anything at all, but there's something cooking in here.
You find that places where stars are missing line up with the locations of the havens.
Okay.
Are there any more places where stars are missing that aren't like marked as havens from the map we got from the vein?
No.
So it's not islands necessarily, it's...
The havens.
In the egg book, in this book from the other room, they say some rather unfriendly things about celestials. Stars be damned. As if that perhaps we're trying to wrest control of this plane from celestials? Make their own havens?
It could be why the havens exist at all. Drawing those stars, I suppose, down here. We've been to, 2 of these facilities now, and they seem to have the same sort of layout, somewhere to contain a celestial being of some kind. The North Star is missing, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the one that we're currently at?
Yes.
Okay.
I could roll history or arcana for it. My question is, if there's any indication that the North Star was the first star to go missing.
The only star that we knew was missing before all of this was the North Star, right? The North Star has been missing for, well, I don't know an exact amount of time, but Aelin knew.
Right. Wasn't Aelin seeking to become the North Star?
They wanted the position. She escaped, right? You saw that?
It seemed that way. She got loose, at least.
And the Falcon didn't. The Falcon was still there. Could we see the Falcon in the sky beforehand? God? Hi, DM.
Daddy?
I mean, it's a constellation, so it's
Maybe it was
composed
missing
of many stars.
Yeah. But, like, it wasn't like people necessarily knew that it was missing in the same way.
You didn't.
Okay.
I can give you that about the constellations. The Falcon constellation on the maps that you're looking at is missing a star in the modern version that exists in the old version.
Okay.
With regards to the North Star, I would assume that wherever she, they, he are, they might still be around. Because when we had originally, back when we were mishandling the Falcon situation, there was that rather dramatic shift of feeling when we were in that area, whereas it doesn't seem to be as weighty over here.
Didn't that ocean feeling come in after the flood?
After
Yes.
the flood,
Yeah. Vivian is around here. As long as Simone or Lachlan can remember. On the other side of the mountains. I don't know if that's connected at all. It just seems like there's some connection with vampires and celestials.
I feel like I've asked you this before, but you've never seen Vivian, yes?
No. I don't even think I've gotten a description.
Even if she were the being trapped here, those bodies were old. She escaped long ago. Why was this place still functioning as a haven?
I don't know, but somehow it seems connected to you, Kian. And I can't figure out how that makes sense.
An ox?
Well, the protection broke after you spoke to Iliakos.
So, either, don't know, maybe Iliakos being there caused, like, I suppose the best way to describe one theory is surface tension for water. You can put a droplet of water on a surface and it will stay in its own little bubble until that surface tension is broken and then it disperses across a place. Could be similar to that, would the power from Iliokos cause the disturbance? Or, alternative theory, whoever was responsible for the semi-protection-ish of this region was killed, and it broke then.
At that exact moment?
I agree it would be a massive coincidence, unless Iliakos had to kill them to get here. But I don't think that they would do that, probably.
I don't know. Maybe I'm stuck on it. I know so little. And that's why it feels important. I feel like I was actively not told anything. It seemed dangerous to know about her. They're gonna look at the map that Nivane had, that Umbra gave them. The map, the place where Freya was, and the place on the other side of the mountains.
This is the place by Freya. It was a filled-in gold dot. So the one in the mountains is not filled in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just was never... He never went past the mountain range.
Because of her.
Because of her.
There's something else odd, or maybe it isn't, but how long has Georgette been living in this haven? Not down here, obviously, but the cave.
Would Ox know, like, the approximate amount of time?
I mean, you do know now that she worked with Dalen and Dimitri, who are human. They seem about 50 years old, so...
Well, she's lived here as long as I've known her, and probably quite a bit before that. Anywhere from 25 to 50 years.
It seems odd that you might be so closely tied to this place and living still so close.
Unless Ox isn't the one who's tied to it.
Well, Scar lived with you as well for a time, right?
Yeah.
And Anne?
Yeah.
Strange question. It's going to seem entirely out of left field. Have you ever seen Sky eat food?
Seen her eat plenty of times.
Okay, then I was thinking that, because, I mean, I know you're twins, but at the same time I can't help but think about the Falcon with Kian and how they looked so very similar, but I mean they were obviously a vampire of some kind and probably didn't eat food. You know, it's a little suspicious to have a non-vampire and then a vampire that looks like them. That could be vampire celestial.
I'm just worried what we're gonna find at the next place. I don't know if we can answer all these questions now, but what does that mean? Why are we connected to every place we've been going? Is it all gonna be connected, or is there more?
It does explain why Nivane was so interested in all of us, specifically, if we do.
They seemed to know you, Ox. And I don't think it was just from your criminal record.
That is a good point. I don't know why a commander-in-chief of the Dawn Shepherds in Dawning would care about a criminal from nowhere.
We don't know how old they are. That question has stuck with me. We don't know how long Nivane has been around.
They are vampiric as well.
To an extent.
In the same way that I was.
Who do you think turned them?
I don't know.
It was Aelin keeping me from turning fully.
Do you think the same sort of thing is happening with the Phoenix?
Maybe.
Nivane?
An elf?
No, underneath the illusion, they had, like, human ears. They appeared human. But they're under an illusion
Appears
to appear
as
like an
a
elf.
Golden
So that they can
elf?
They appear as an elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Little fucker.
they can be older, probably.
Yeah, so it doesn't look fishy when they don't age.
Yeah.
Maybe our best course of action is our original one. I mean, we've got maybe 2 times where we've had the same sort of, maybe reflection scenario going on. But if we investigate another one of these, we might find another instance to help fit things into place.
Yeah, do we want to do a final sweep of this place? Make sure we didn't miss anything?
I think I'm gonna need a minute. If you don't mind, I'll stay close to kind of think this through.
I could go with you out this door here, and he points to the main entrance door that previously in the other freer location we encountered a beholder through.
Keen will just take that. Is it still glowing?
Not so much anymore.
Not so much, or not at all?
There's a tiny glimmer.
But if I cast Detect Magic, is the magic still as strong? It's just...
No.
Oh.
What was it supposed to power?
Yeah.
You could always power up another.
Yeah, Keen, they have that coin in their hand. I don't know what this was supposed to do, but it's not lasting very much longer. Kirit, the vials, are they still...
He'll pull out one of the vials of his tears.
Are they still glowing under Detect Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Those look the same. I mean, this seems like it was sort of an in-between thing.
Do you want me to see if I can find anything more from it?
They'll hand it over.
If I may make a request as well, if you could take that portrait of the devil, I think it would be really fun. Just put it in Ox's bag of holding. I'd like to bring it back with me. If you can. If not, if that's not reasonable, I understand. But...
No, yeah, sure. Kian, could we have your bag too while we're going to our search?
Yeah.
I'll give it back. He'll just pass it to Kirit, because Virgil's gonna do his little thing, so... He'll hop up on the desk to get his feet out of the water. Not that it does a whole lot. He'll sit quietly with the coin while it's still got a little bit of a glimmer, and see what he can glean from it.
Can Kirit catch Kian on the way? Kian, I didn't want to say anything in front of the others, but, Jacques, was sort of at the entrance of the cave.
What?
When Marigold ran off, apparently she's been doing that. Apparently she goes to him sometimes. And he wanted to warn you about it, in case Scar had anything to do with it.
Is Marigold still on Kirit's shoulder?
Mm-hmm. She looks over at you, Kian, with her widest, most sparkly eyes that she can manage as a falcon.
Wait, I'll talk to you later. She looks to Marigold. You said you saw? Like he was physically here?
Yeah,
Just him?
as far as I could tell.
No.
Marigold speaks.
Yeah.
Out loud?
Yeah.
Is that your man's?
Jacques' voice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is everyone here? The winds? The winds.
Marigold looks at you, Kirit, and back to Kian. As far as I understand, yes.
Down here?
No.
But up there?
Yes.
Should we be worried about that? What's the plan? Why? Sorry, this is a lot. Hi.
I figured if my cover is blown, then it is... Well, why not?
Marigold's just letting you do this.
Insisting.
That makes a bit of sense, actually. She's a good bird. Even though she should have maybe told me about this.
Kirit gives her little scritchies.
She leans into your little scritchies. Does not look ashamed in the slightest.
Is that why you weren't letting me see anything?
She raises one wing, like, partially over her face.
Is this Marigold or Jacques right now?
Is what Marigold or Jacques?
Never mind.
I am hoping to connect our groups mutually, but perhaps now is not the time.
No, I don't think that will go over so well.
There's a pause, and Marigold, you can tell Marigold takes over. There's a bit of a dreamy kind of absence to her expression for a moment, and she just looks around, blinks a few times, ruffles her feathers, and then the The intensity to the falcon gaze returns. Now is not the time. Again, the dreamy, kind of distant look of Marigold is back.
He took the brain cell with him.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to keep it from you, just... I didn't want to sort of put all of that out in front of everyone.
No, I think that's good. Marigold trusts him. I think Keen kind of smiles, actually. I always told Lachlan that he could do that. He wasn't really comfortable with it, but it seems like she thinks they're the same.
Well, let's hope for the best, I suppose.
Should be careful when leaving here.
Yes. We do our sweep. Jiminy.
You find a few more books by the same author as the mycology book. Also mycology books, mostly. Or books about the land from a naturalist perspective. Some of them start to mention stars here and there. In one of them, you find a piece of paper that is disconnected from the rest of the book, like it's been stuck in the pages. And you can find a couple of words here or there, and it seems like a very flowery love letter.
Did you say addressed to somebody?
Addressed to the same author as the other mycology books.
Addressed to the author of the book?
Yes.
I take all the books I can.
Does Ox obtain +1 devil portrait for Henry?
Yes.
Yay.
Virgil will go with you because that is on the way to the slot machines. He will go there with the coin and do his fucked up vision shit there.
Roll history with advantage.
Yeah. It's a 21.
Why do you roll so good on this one?
Because he's a fucking nerd with a +8 in history.
Like,
It doesn't make it harder on me.
Virgil's turning into a reverse prophet?
This vision is much simpler than the others. As if you are half buried in the dirt, you are looking up at the roof of one of the greenhouses, and you can see the faces of the 2 gardeners who are tending to this bed. One of them, whose face matches the portrait you found, is holding a vial of something red, opening it up. The other face has a look of mild concern, but gestures to them to go ahead. They're not wearing their usual hat, but everything else is basically the same. A sort of scraggly, unkempt 5 o'clock shadow, intense, almost cat-like eyes, and 2 ears, now a bit back against their brown curly hair. Lo gives them the go-ahead, and the blood mixes with the soil, and Lo presses their hands to it.
Yeah, when you said scraggly, I was like, I know the guy.
There's too many guys.
I was like, hat? That could be like 15 people. And then you said scraggly. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Kian, what are you doing?
Keen leaves with Henry close behind them. And can they climb up to the roof of these buildings?
Yeah, you could.
You sit on the wall.
You can do that now. You
Yeah.
can climb walls.
They look to Henry. I just want to sit for a minute. Is it okay if I go up there?
Of course, I just didn't want you to be completely disconnected from everyone.
I'll be back down soon.
Okay.
And they go up to the roof of this building. They take the falcon gem out of their pocket and hold it tight between their palms. The 2 stars. I don't know if you can hear, but I think you were right to be angry. And I'm not gonna say I'm sorry for not letting you do what you wanted to do. Because I think everyone that deserved it is gone. But I don't know. Are you my parents? Am I here because of you? I wish we hadn't gone to you first. I'd like to think we could have done something different. Wish I could have gotten to know you a little bit. They just slowly fall silent and hold it tight and just sit there. And it's not like they're not trying to connect to it if there's anything that feels like it's something they can connect to, but they're not trying to do anything besides kind of just apologize.
Roll wisdom.
Check.
I'm not good at that.
None of us are. None of us ever roll good wisdom checks.
Anyway, I rolled a 13 again.
You feel that it is connected to something, but you don't necessarily feel the presence of the falcon.
They sit and focus on that connection. In a few minutes, as they wipe away a tear, he'll climb back down and kind of stand in the water beside Henry and follow Henry's lead until the rest of the gang catches up, or if we go back.
He was taking a respectful lean against the wall.
Do we ever take the coin back into the room where the celestial was, though?
Virgil's out there
didn't say
wandering.
anything.
Sure, he'll take the coin around and try and see if there's any place that he can, like, any other place where it looks like it could be used.
You don't find anything quite so fitting as a coin-powered slot machine.
He does consider the slot machines.
Yeah, were we supposed to just put it back in there?
I don't.
Sorry, this is the keen voice
I
in
don't
your
know.
head. Just wondering.
Yeah, maybe
Wondering.
777 is a jackpot.
Like, we need a working coin and then we need to put it in a 777. Like a glowing coin, use it again.
I just feel like
that
there
what you
was
meant?
something else you were supposed to do with the coin, and it
There's
feels
nothing
like...
else you were necessarily supposed to do with the coin. I'm wondering if something was unclear that I kind of thought was clear.
Nothing
No,
is clear
we
in
have
my
no
head.
idea.
I think...
Wait, Ox and Virgil are going to the...
The slot machine hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, looking through the tanks again, looking through the sketches and books that you could find in the office, you do see some of what appears to be the machines at work. In these images, the tanks have people inside of them. 3 of them appear to be babies in like a half-opaque eggshell.
So do you think if I get back in there? No. Can make a little egg around.
Like, as if...
I'm still unclear with what this means.
I know.
though.
I'm, like,
I
trying to
don't-
figure out what the fuck, like...
You just submitted genetic material to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could make
God,
a
we're gonna
little-
leave and, like, a little baby Keen is gonna start growing in this.
I'm worried. Yeah.
You saw in your vision that they were bringing the bodies to this room.
See, I thought they were bringing the bodies out to the Celestial.
Yeah.
No, they were bringing them through that room to this room.
So they were putting corpses in these tubes and
Recycling?
feeding them celestial blood-fed mushrooms to do something to, like, metamorphosize the bodies.
They were powering...
Whatever you
I
are.
have one brain cell and
know,
it
I
is
think-
fucking crying.
I feel like they were using...
We could kill one of us and put us in a tube and see what happens.
I would like you to imagine, just Virgil,
Don't say my name like that.
I don't know if this will help you or not with your confusion, and it's okay if you guys to be kind of confused right now, but this combination of ingredients should feel kind of familiar to you.
The shepherd
Fuck.
trial.
Okay. To go to my room. Wow.
No, we all knew that. We should have all known that one.
And all of the shepherds that survived were fey touched.
Yes.
Was this? I don't know. Maybe a way of artificially fey touching someone? Or maybe the babies were fey touched. I don't know.
And also, Aasimar are fey-touched.
Yeah.
Are tieflings?
They're more likely to be fey touched,
Yeah.
but they're not
Could have
always.
narrowed it down. Okay.
More people hatched!
Yeah.
It's not just me!
Before we leave, Nevane has a map of this place. I think that we should destroy those machines. I don't think we can leave those in a usable state.
But we don't know for certain what they do or if we could utilize them later.
They seem at least functional, some of them, and I don't want to leave them here for someone to find. Not someone like Nevane.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything good that can come of it.
I don't think so either.
Henry, you hear a voice, and it's like it's right over your shoulder. You must preserve as much as you can of this place. That is the favor I ask you. And that is where we'll end our session for tonight.
That sounded a lot like our daddy's Navain voice. Who did you deal with? You little slut.
Wasn't like that.
You don't know.
Been building up a wall, laying mortar onto brick. Been building up a wall, 'cause you just make me sick. When that wall's between you and me, that's the way it should always be. And I've been filling up the sea, mixing water in with salt. I've been filling up the sea, 'cause this was all your fault. When we stand on separate shores, I'll simmer just a little more. Always fighting over something these days, crying over nothing either way. You've been building up a railroad, laying rails and stakes and wood. You've been building up a railroad, like it'll do you any good. When that train is on the tracks, we can put all this at our backs.
This is vampire blood that
None
we're
of
doing
us are
first.
normal for this, though.
Are you normal now that you ate that mushroom? Do you think?
I don't fucking know.
What are you? You're
mean,
like celestial coated.
Werewolf, so...
I'm edible to vampires, that's all I know.